Hello. Hello and welcome back to Aloha at Home. Is anybody out there? Can you hear me? How are you guys doing? Michelle Moore, first comment, hello. Thank you guys for joining me on this Tuesday. I hope you had a good Easter weekend, or as good of an Easter weekend as is possible right now. My name is Jamie Tworkowski. I'm the founder of To Write Love on Her Arms, coming to you from my house in Nashville, Tennessee, East Nashville to be exact. I am here on behalf of our team, on behalf of the To Write Love on Her Arms staff and our interns, and it's been a privilege to keep showing up on behalf of this great group. And as always, the hope is that you would be encouraged by our time together, that you would feel less alone, maybe that you would come away feeling a bit comforted, inspired. And we've been inviting great friends to be our special guests every time we do this. And so today we've got two special guests. First will be my friend Michelle Moore, who is a licensed mental health counselor in Orlando, Florida. Michelle and her husband Aaron own and run Solace Counseling, and we've known them for more than a decade, pretty much going all the way back to the beginning of To Write Love on Her Arms. And so Aaron and Michelle, in addition to their friendship, they've just been tremendous voices of wisdom for the organization over the years. And so I'm excited to talk to Michelle, and then we will join forces with Propaganda. Prop is a friend who we've known for years, not as many years as Michelle, but an amazing hip hop and spoken word artist. And so Prop will be joining us from his house in Los Angeles. And I'll go ahead and announce Thursday's TWLOHA at Home Instagram Live. They're giving me the day off, but you will be in good hands with Chad Moses, who is our Director of Outreach, Lindsay Kolsch, who is one of our co-executive directors, and then Aaron Bakash, who manages our Find Help tool. I always tell people Aaron has such a cool job. He's constantly helping people get the help they need and deserve. And so we are going to have an episode that's entirely in-house. You're going to hear from our team, and I'm excited just to sit back and watch and listen this Thursday. And then next Tuesday, we don't normally share this far in advance, but next Tuesday I will be joined by Lorenza Izzo, who is an actress from Chile who now lives in Los Angeles. You may know her from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She played Leonardo DiCaprio's wife in that film. And she's also one of the stars of the upcoming Penny Dreadful City of Angels that comes out, I believe, in a couple weeks. So Lorenza and I met on a trip to Tijuana, Mexico a few months back, and she's become a friend and a supporter of the organization, and she's just an incredible force for good and just a really bright light. And so I'm excited to introduce her to you. And then we will actually have Michelle's husband, Aaron, who, as I mentioned, is a licensed mental health counselor. Aaron Moore will be joining us next Tuesday, which is April 21st. And then just a couple other announcements before we bring Michelle on. I want to always highlight the Fear Won't Win landing page that we've created on our website. We continue to add to it. So I've been highlighting podcast episodes, blog posts, downloadable pages that you can color. We are now adding music. We're adding a playlist. We're actually adding more downloadables. So just more ways that you can practice self-care. We want to give you as many ideas and tools as possible in this difficult time. And then I want to also just talk about Run For It 5K, our annual 5K that has, I think this is our 8th year, started out just with a local physical race in Satellite Beach, Florida. And we've, in recent years, added a virtual component, and we've seen more people run not in Central Florida, but all across the United States and literally around the world. this year because of coronavirus, we had to cancel the physical race, which would have typically happened in early mid-April, and instead we will still be having the virtual race on Saturday, May 16th. So you are invited no matter where you are, no matter what life looks like. If you can run, if you can walk, if you can push a wheelchair, push a stroller, everyone is still invited to participate. You can learn more at runforit5k.com. Again, it's runforit5k.com. Not only information about signing up, but also if you're interested in becoming a fundraiser. This race has become one of the most significant sources of financial support for the organization every year. And so we invite you. We've also seen so many stories emerge over the years as people share why they're running. We invite people to move for something that matters. And so we see so many stories of people running or walking on behalf of someone they lost or someone they care about. Maybe it's even on behalf of their own recovery, their own story. And so again, runforit5k.com. And with that, I'm going to add my friend Michelle Moore. So we should have her. If you guys want to share where you are, where you're watching, maybe something good that happened, something you're grateful for. I always think it's cool. Hi, Michelle.
Hey.
You did it.
Yay, I did it.
We're here. Where are you joining us from?
So I'm in my new office. I'm not sure I told you yet, Jamie, but we just moved probably about a month ago, right as social distancing started. So we haven't seen any clients in this space, but we're here because the internet is a lot better than at home. So
you're now on Robinson, right?
Yes. Yes. So
I feel like I stumbled upon that the other day.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Or maybe it was in your Instagram. Well, that's exciting.
A little bit bigger. We have like room for an actual waiting room so that people can comfortably sit, and then we have like a little conference area and group room. So hopefully do some groups in the future as soon as we're able to see each other. So
well, before we get to the work that you do now, do you mind sharing just a little bit of your background, kind of what led you to becoming a counselor, and maybe even how our paths crossed?
Oh gosh, so our paths crossed probably soon after TWLOHA started. I think I met you at a steakhouse in Solace.
Yeah, Charlie and Jake's.
Charlie and Jake's, great. And you know, obviously Aaron met you first, and I was in grad school at the time. I don't think you remember that, but I was just learning about the organization, and then saw a lot of clients that struggled with self-injury and eating disorders, as well as like anxiety and depression. I remember one of my clients coming to the practicum that I was at, and they were wearing a Trite Love and Arm shirt, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know the people. So
yeah.
But anyway, that was several years ago. I guess like 14 now.
Yeah.
Crazy. But how I got into counseling, I guess that's a pretty long story, but I think I've always wanted to help people, and naturally somehow found my way into this field, you know, really with a desire and a passion to help others in ways that maybe I've been helped, in ways that maybe I didn't know how to help people previously to trainings and education, but always had a passion, desire to kind of come alongside people. And never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that this was where I'd be. So it's kind of crazy. And I tell all my clients that too, that want to be counselors. They're like, how did you get there? I'm like, I have no idea, but somehow I ended up here. But no, it's been very rewarding, and Aaron and I are very blessed, and we work with a team of counselors, so we're not alone. Matt and Stefan and Nico in our practice, so we're excited that they're with us in this journey. My work as a counselor, I work with a lot of eating disorder clients that struggle with a wide variety of eating issues or body image issues. I also work with anxiety, mood disorders, trauma, things like that. So.
So what we talked earlier, but everyone wasn't watching and listening earlier. So
Yeah.
and you know Denny Kolsch, who was a guest last week and who's a mutual friend. But I wonder what, I feel like you have a unique job every day, but what has that unique job looked like in this unique, challenging season? What have you been seeing and hearing, and what does counseling look like right now?
Well, it's a little weird at first. Like there's, internet delays, and sometimes my face is fuzzy or there's an echo. It's just sometimes getting used to that and kind of really trying to connect with the other person on the screen. But
yeah, when it says poor connection, that's a new meaning to poor connection.
Right. Like I'll quickly text the client or call them, or it's definitely gotten a bit used to. It's not my favorite, mode of therapy. But I heard somebody on one of the online rooms that I'm in for therapists, and they call it video therapy, which is a little bit easier to swallow than telehealth or telemedicine.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that, but it is weird. It's not, but I'm glad that at least people are able to connect with somebody, like there's AA has online groups, there's different support groups around the nation that are doing groups online. Counselors are all of them are doing telehealth. So I think it's great that we're able to keep meeting with clients and keep connecting with them. So
yeah. What kind of things are you seeing clients struggle with, and how have you been able to try to be helpful in this time?
Yeah. Well, I think the people that had ongoing struggles, like whether it's an eating disorder or substance abuse disorder or anxiety or depression, sometimes those are very much what we're talking about, but maybe the anxiety or the uncertainty of the future is kind of at the highlight. It's definitely intensified things for a lot of people. I would say for most clients or most people, like even including myself, of feeling like, gosh, what's tomorrow going to bring? As our nation is transitioning to maybe opening up the economy, like what's that going to look like? How are we all going to get back to work? When are our kids going back to school? So I think a lot of emotion, and then like checking in with yourself of like, hey, what am I feeling right now? And it may be fear, it may be dread, maybe uncertainty or feeling out of control. So I think a lot of those things are happening for individuals.
I think we hear a lot about anxiety, just so many people dealing with anxiety, which makes a ton of sense because of, as you touched on, the lack of control, the uncertainty, the fear. I feel like a lot of times people are looking for some sort of tool, and I wonder if there's anything short of, hey, make a counseling appointment, which we totally agree with, but any tools that the folks who are watching, is there anything that could be helpful for them to keep in mind or even to practice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think it's maybe taking time for yourself, like having a moment of quiet or just checking in. I know that my life and my routine has gotten pretty altered, right? For lack of better words, just changed. And so trying to take some time to kind of, sit with, what am I feeling? What's my body feeling? What are my thoughts? What are my emotions? And then just sometimes acknowledging that, taking time to, just give space for that, or acknowledging what I'm feeling. And then, coming into that space, like being able to come into my body through meditation or breath work or a quiet walk or an evening
Yeah.
bike ride, whatever it's like.
Sure. I want to invite you guys who are listening in and watching, you can submit a question for Michelle. There's a little question mark in a square. I believe it's at the bottom of your screen next to the comment box. And so one of my favorite parts of hosting these Instagram lives has been getting to your questions every time we do it. So if you have a question, whether you're someone struggling, you're a counselor, you're thinking about becoming a counselor, we want to take advantage of Michelle's wisdom while we have her with us. I wonder if you don't mind talking about it. So you're not only a counselor, you're a wife who co-owns a business with her husband. You're a mom to twins.
Yes.
So how in the world are you juggling all of that? And with that, how are you able to kind of prioritize your own mental health and self-care right now?
Wow.
Just a softball question.
Tough question. I mean, my husband is probably listening, so he would probably say terribly. I could definitely make improvements, right? Like I have to practice what I preach or teach rather. But yeah, I feel like to be honest, like it's kind of like your world just gets turned upside down, you know, like I know for you, you've been traveling a lot and you were in Melbourne, now you're in Nashville. And for us, it's like juggling, teaching kids online and seeing clients, running a business. And then there's a lot of back and forth. And then also trying to take some time for yourself, which I tend to neglect that part, which then catches up with me. And then, you know, so I think if I were to keep trying to adjust to the changes, it would be to, you know, take time for yourself, acknowledging those feelings and emotions, and doing some self-care, like self-care or doing something nice for yourself. Like it could,
Yeah. What you mentioned, I think, like evening walks or a bike ride, are there any other rhythms or practices that you've been enjoying or realizing, hey, this feels good in this hard time?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe, you know, it's probably different for each person. You know, sometimes it may be for me prayer or reading or quiet time. It could be connecting with a friend over Zoom or FaceTime. It could
Jess,
be, what's
I'm
that?
sorry, Jess said more family yoga.
Right, more family yoga. We did that. That was cool. It's really humbling when you realize you're 8 years more flexible than you, but without saying. Yeah, I think trying to have some fun, you know, but also being maybe intentional about like your own well-being and trying to do things for yourself and for other people can be helpful.
Well, I'm gonna find us a question or two if that's okay, because
Yeah.
people are starting to ask.
Yeah, somebody said staying away from the toxic side of social media. I think that's true too. Like a diet from news, social media can be a helpful
Yeah,
thing.
sure. So here's one for you. Do you seek therapy yourself through this time?
Oh, well, of course. Yeah. I think that's an ongoing thing. You know, why stop when there's a pandemic? Right.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, as a counselor, my belief is that you're, you know, part of being a good therapist is, you know, knowing the work that you're doing affects the work that you do yourself. So like, you know, me working on myself is just as important as like reading a book about anxiety or trauma, you know. So I think that's part of the process. I think of being present to your clients and doing good work. But yeah, of course.
yeah,
That may be a counselor, it may be a friend, it may be the neighbor down the street. Reaching out versus isolating is key for a lot of people.
yeah. No, I totally agree. I'm gonna see. There's a couple more questions. So this is a tough one. how do we stay hopeful in the midst of a crashing job market? I just graduated college. It's been really hard.
Yeah, that's a huge bummer. I see that a lot too. Like people just really scared about the economy. I agree. Like it's very uncertain times. I would try to maybe just stay positive. You know, brainstorm things that you could do. Be, you know, maybe get out of the box a little bit. Be creative about the different areas of the careers that you're hoping to get into. Networking is always good, even in social distancing, like trying to reach out and network with people.
Yeah. I
I think
think,
trying to create a plan, like just to feel like you're doing something, you know, versus just
yeah,
let life happen, always helps
sure.
me.
I think trying to remember that this will pass. We don't know when, we don't know what that transition will look like, but I think knowing it won't be this way forever. And you can tell me what you think, but I wonder if it's helpful just to remember this isn't just happening to me or to my business or my career. This is happening to everyone everywhere in the world. And
Right.
I feel like that can be helpful for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, you mind if we do a couple more questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys for asking these as well. Um, so this is a really honest one, a really vulnerable one. I'm in trauma therapy for childhood sexual abuse. I worry about overburdening my therapist. Any advice?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm glad that you're thinking about that. You know, very, um, a lot of awareness, self-awareness to be thinking about that. My suggestion would be bring it up to the therapist, like bring it in the room. Um, if that's a worry or concern, go ahead and ask it. You know, that we're trained to, you know, hopefully be able to deal with those types of difficult questions. And I'm a huge supporter of just bringing it out into the open and discussing it. Yeah. Because I
Yeah,
feel like, you know, that may be part of the process of healing too, is recognizing that you're not going to be a burden to someone and that somebody can handle your
sure.
pain.
No, that's so good. Ben just quoted you, Ben from our team. Bring it in the room. He liked that. We'll get to a couple more. Someone asked me this the other day, and I feel like I love this about our audience and our community. We hear from so many people who are curious about becoming counselors, or we find them years later and they have become counselors.
Mhm.
And I think we get the question, what advice would you have to someone who's thinking maybe this would be a good fit for me? You know, maybe I might want to become a counselor, but I'm not sure what the next step is. I wonder what advice you might offer someone.
That's great. You know, maybe it depends on like the stage of life they're in. So if they're in like school, maybe they can talk to a professor about, you know, shadowing someone or interviewing a professional in the area, you know, to get more information about it. Maybe going to counseling yourself. Sometimes that can be a huge
Yeah,
eye opener as well.
that that's a front row seat.
Right. That's probably how I got involved in counseling. I didn't know that this existed until I became a client, right?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think maybe just beginning to think about, okay, what stage of life are you in and what makes the most sense in terms of my next step. So whether that's talking to a professional, talking to a teacher, a professor, or, you know, maybe shadowing somebody at a hospital or a clinic or a treatment center.
yeah. I've and some of this is based on my experience with our community, interns, staff, and you guys. I feel like I've heard multiple people say, "Hey, I was curious and I talked to Michelle. I was curious and I talked to Aaron." And it makes me think, man, if you have access to someone who already does this job, it's great to just, you know, sit with them or pick up the phone and just ask questions to someone who who isn't speaking hypothetically, but for you, this is your career. This is a big part of your life. And I don't know, does that seem like a good idea to, if you know someone who is a counselor, to start there?
Yeah. Or even like, you know, the ASP walk, or join like the movement of To Write Love in Our Arms, and the things that you're doing from a networking or advocacy side, like that can be also a sort of segue into, you know, learning more about mental health and how it can serve the community. So like
Yeah,
being a volunteer, or, you know, I think there's so many different nonprofits out there that offer services, like the National Eating Disorder Association or the Alliance for Eating Disorders in Florida, or Active Minds and college campuses. Like there's a lot of ways I feel like to get involved, either as a student or as a college student, even as a professional. So that might be another way into it as well.
yeah. Well, maybe we'll do one more. Thank you guys again for your questions.
Yeah, this is so fun.
Yeah. Oh, this is an important one. Any advice for minors who need professional help but can't seem to convince their parents?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in some states, I know in the state of Florida, there you can ask for help without consent, as long as it's like for, like, you know, if you're having a crisis. So like if you wanted to call a crisis hotline or call a counselor and you're like, hey, I need help, like they can't turn you away. I think the age in Florida maybe 13. Some other states it's around that. But that, you know, that may be probably the best way to go, is if you're not in school and you can't talk to somebody at the school, that I guess a counselor or safe counselor, then maybe call one of the crisis hotlines and
Yeah,
see how, what resources are available to you in that state and in that area.
sure.
Can you think
We
like,
always point, sorry?
I was like, I was going to throw it back at you to see if,
Oh, I mean, we love to point to crisis text line, and here in the U.S., 24 hours a day, you can send a text to 741-741, and you'll get a response from a trained crisis counselor. And then I would also point to the Find Help tool on the To Write Love in Our Arms website. So on our homepage, top right corner, you click the words Find Help, and when you enter your zip code, you can connect with local resources specific to the place that you live. There are filters that you can use to narrow it down, but that also includes free and reduced rate services. But yeah, I think we love to point to crisis text line, especially in a moment of hopelessness or obviously a moment of crisis.
yeah.
Someone just mentioned in the UK, legally, they can help you without telling your parents as long as you're 14. So it sounds even similar, Michelle, to what you said. And I think we also just want to acknowledge the weight. That is a really hard question. It's hard when you are under the roof of your parents. And I tell people all the time, we can't control who gets it, right? We can't control who understands us or who we feel safe with, or and then that's really hard when you're a minor and you're talking about your own parents, who we so wish, if anyone understood, that they would. So I appreciate you sharing there. Lindsay is excited to see you. She sends heart eyes.
Hi, Lindsay. It's excited to see you.
Is there anything, before we let you go, just kind of anything that you'd want to offer this group? I always try to acknowledge that we know people are in all different boats. Maybe someone is grieving, they've lost someone. Maybe someone knows a sick family member. Maybe life is hard for reasons that have nothing to do with this coronavirus moment. But maybe just something you would want people to walk away thinking about in this time. No pressure.
Yeah, I think, man, we're all in this together, probably along the lines of what you've already said. And I was on an evening bike ride, probably to de-stress and kind of, you know, get some chill time in. And I rode by the ballpark where my kids play baseball and softball, and I was just like, oh my gosh, so much life on the weekend happens here, and now it's just dead, you know, and no one's there, and it's kind of sad, but at the same time, I think back to what you said, like, this is for a season, this too shall pass. And trying to remember, like, there will be life again, and life will go back to maybe not how it was, but it'll, you know, things will change. It won't stay the same.
Yeah.
And so trying to hang on to that hope, you know, whatever that hope looks like. It may be a ballpark full of kids playing baseball on the weekends, or it may be seeing your friends again, going to your favorite concert. You know, that might be the hope that you hang on to.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I think I've tried to remind people that even this Instagram Live, it's hopefully an example of the fact that we're limited, but we still have some options, right? You and I can still see each other, we can talk. Obviously, outside of Instagram, you can FaceTime, you can make phone calls, send text messages. So I think it's easy to think, and you and I talked about this earlier, it's easy to think that all of our good options have been taken away, whether it's professional help or career, so, you know, and so many things have been canceled. But I think we want to encourage people, you know, to lean into the options that remain, that we still need connection, even though it's going to look and feel different. So just reminding people, whether it's using technology or it's a walk 10 feet apart with a neighbor that you care about. So just to continue to try to lean into the good stuff that we do have access to. And then I love what you said, just remembering that it's not always going to be this way.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Hey, how can people learn more about Solace, or if they know someone in Central Florida, how could they send someone your way?
Yeah, just my email is, or yeah, just find a way to message me or call us. Where you can.
What's the website?
It's solacecounseling.org. So.
Yeah, and then Michelle she's on her Instagram right now, but the counseling Solace's Instagram is at Solace Counseling FL for Florida, right?
Yes, I believe
awesome.
So.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you again, and we get to hang out with your lovely husband a week from today.
Okay. Yeah, say hi to Prop for me.
Okay, will do. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye.
So we are now going to bring on Propaganda. Thank you to Michelle Moore for joining us. If you know anyone in Central Florida, or if you happen to be from Central Florida, we love making people aware of the great work that Aaron and Michelle and their team are doing. So again, it's solacecounseling.org. And I'm going to look for Prop. We are going to add him. Someone said, show the shirt. I am showing the shirt.
Yo.
Dude, you got your new shirt on.
I do. It came yesterday. It was like you planned it or something.
I knew I owed you a good package.
You did. Yo,
hey,
get
man.
this camera right quick. I look all like soap opera Steve.
You always look cool.
What's up, man?
How are you doing? Where in the world are you?
Oh, you know exactly where I am.
You gotta tell them.
I am in my living room. Well, I'm in the dining room right now. In Los Angeles, East LA, Boyle Heights, West. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And what have your days been looking like for the last month?
I'll show you. See that?
Yes.
Highlights. Homework. Here, let me. Homework. Highlights. 9th grade homework.
Yeah.
Writing. This. Puzzles.
So you're juggling.
Air frying. Coffee meetups. Air frying potato wedges. That is pretty much it.
Yeah. So for those of you who somehow don't know, Propaganda is a rapper, also spoken word poet, but a husband, a daddy, Man, what has this month been like for you?
Man, adjustment, obviously, because, you know, I tour for a living. So not being on the road is like, it's weird, you know. I am in a, you know, there, I've had to make a lot of the same adjustments everybody else had to make, but like, there's a few things that I've noticed where, I mean, this is the most concentrated time I've spent with my children. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, turns out my 14-year-old's hilarious. Like, she's a rad girl. You just realize, like, when you're parenting, even when I'm not touring, it's like, she gets home at 4:30. I make her dinner. She's tired. She's in bed by 9:30. So it's like I have maybe 3 hours with my daughter. You can't really know a person. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, I'm actually like low key, like, I mean, of course, you know, we all have our own boundaries, you know what I'm saying? Like, that we need, so that, just like your counselor earlier was saying, like, but I'm like, yo, this is kind of fresh. I don't see my wife like this usually, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, we kind of dope, you know?
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's kind of dope, you know? I have no source of income, you know, but we're figuring that out.
Yeah. Were you supposed to be on the road during this time?
Yeah, I was one of the hundreds of artists, thousands of artists who had tours canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, well, I've been trying to, I think you've already shared some of it, but what has, obviously connecting with your daughters has been a positive. I wonder,
Super.
related to like self-care or your
Yeah.
mental health, what have you found some rhythms or some things that have felt good in this time?
Actually, you know, so my wife works for a nonprofit for you know, low income, like, first gen college students. So they had been sort of, they were ahead of the game with the shelter in place thing. So she had been working from home a good week longer than everybody else. So we were ahead of the game. So we were like, yo, set a routine, set a schedule, let's get it. I think I grabbed it over here just because I knew what you was gonna ask. Like, yo, it's on the fridge. It's color coded. My wife's a PhD, so she like made it like clear.
Dude, that's amazing.
Mom and dad work day, so we just like divvied up the weight. You know what I'm saying? So that everybody's not always in panic mode. You know what I'm saying? So like, one thing we did was that, like, the schedule really helps to make a routine. Where I get to work, like, I don't like to work in the morning, or I like slow mornings. I like to work in the morning. So like, from wake up till lunch is, I get to go to the door. I don't know if you can see behind me on the door. You see that yellow paper back there?
Yeah.
That's our like code. There's like a red, yellow, and green as to like, leave me alone or not leave me alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get to have that in the morning, and then we switch, right? So now my wife's in there. Yellow means she might be on a call, but you can knock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that means I got the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing, and then in that we have like mandatory, like, leave everybody alone. All y'all go to y'all rooms. Like, everybody do whatever you want. And like, just leave everybody alone. You know what I'm saying? Me and my wife on weekends get like 2 hours each on a Saturday to be like, get in the car, go do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Then we switch. I get to go to the car, do whatever I want.
Look at work.
Yeah.
Open.
You got a lot of things open over there. Got our windows open. And then I was gonna say, this is the last thing for any parents out there. Like, I have just like, I mean, the term screen time just doesn't mean anything anymore. Like,
Yeah.
throw it away. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I don't like our kids being on screens too much. Okay, that's stupid now. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was on FaceTime with my mom for 2 hours this morning because she just wanted to talk to my mom. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you like? It's a stupid thing. So just like, we have all of our like, okay, it's enough screen time. Like, forget all that. I used to be mad about my child eating in her bedroom. Like, you can't be taking your snack to. Okay, dog. Like, these things that just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's, for me, that's part of the self-care, because I'm a stickler about, like, respect. We got rules in this house. This is how
Yeah.
this gonna run. Like, I'm the one that's like that, you know what I'm saying? But just allowing myself to be, like, much more kind
Yeah.
to myself and about our rules and stuff, being like, maybe this pivot, bro. Like,
Yeah. Well,
it's
like,
okay.
you get
Pivot.
to, I guess, like anything, you get to choose your battles now, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and it's helped me, like, as an artist or just as a person, just stand back and just be like, were those, like, good rules? Like, were they even good rules in the first place? Like, why did you care so much about this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
What about just for you, when you get kind of that 2 hours, are you taking walks? Are you jumping in the car? Like, what are you
It
doing?
varies, man. You know, sometimes I'll just go to the beach and park. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like, you know, a cigar lounge. Sometimes it's like just being outside, man. Sometimes it's like I go for a bike ride, I go for a run. It don't matter. It's just, for me, it's relaxing. If I'm not responsible for the life and safety of any other human, then I'm relaxed. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm responsible for somebody, like, it's not a break to me.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So for me, it's that, you know, or like, I mean, there are times I just went to the car and sat in the driveway and just watched the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That has cuss words, because
Yeah.
my children aren't around. So I can watch a movie with cuss words. You know what I mean?
So I feel like that's kind of the behind the scenes at your house, but I know you're such a thinker. I know you pay attention to the news and the world, and I wonder.
Tell me when to.
What's up, baby?
Tell me when to press that.
You could press that now. Okay? Daddy's on a call though, all right? I gotta talk to you after the call, okay? Okay, go on.
Has it been a roller coaster for you personally, just kind of following this? Like, are there days you feel anxious or hopeful or afraid?
Absolutely, man. I mean, so when it started getting real, my Alma, my wife, she does a yearly, like, girls trip, you know, so she was out in Joshua Tree, like, way out in the desert, when all the stuff started coming apart. That was like, yo, we're about to be in a quarantine, everybody's staying home. So I melted down. I was like, I'm in panic mode, because I have 4 days with just me and the kids, and I don't know what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, everything I thought of, we were done by 10:30 in the morning, and I was like, oh crap, there's so much more day left, you know. So I definitely, like, knowing what's going on, being somebody that's like a student of history, you know what I'm saying, and government and politics, and just, like, you know, already being like a student of those things, was kind of like, I could kind of already see down the road, like, yo, if we don't do this, this is gonna happen. It'll be fine. Like, the earth will be fine. You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna make it the best way? You know what I'm saying? But earth gonna be okay. You feel me? And COVID's gonna make its way through, and then it's gonna be fine. But, like, the question is, are we gonna make it? You know what I'm saying? And what type of people are we gonna be after this? You know what I mean? And through this. So, like, I definitely, like, as far as, like, soul care for myself, like, the biggest mantra we've been having in our house is, like, yo, just be kind to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And give yourself that space to be like, look, dude, it's okay to not be propaganda for a second. It's okay to not be dad. Just be Jason. You feel me? And you can melt down. You can cry. You can go, it's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're like really big on giving everybody that space to be like, yo, you can melt down. Like, right now, like, my oldest should be sitting across from me working on her English. She's not. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's fine. She'll get to it.
Are there any kind of mechanisms you've had to put in place? Like, I can only watch this much news, or?
Totally. Yeah. So I've limited for myself to, like, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Want to keep up to know what's going on. And, like, you know, it's hard, right? It's hard when you're, like, when you're watching and you're watching news, you're watching, you know, press conferences, whatever. And it's like, I make it a point to look at news from outside of America. So I look at like Al Jazeera, BBC, just all these other stations, just to be like, okay, let me hear a perspective that's outside of our, you know what I'm saying, our dome. You know what I mean? And then you come back into our dome, and you're just like, what are y'all talking? That's not even true. Like, what are you saying? You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
I only give myself an hour of that because it's just like, what do we already know? You know what I'm saying? Like, I already know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are you cool if we get to a couple questions from these folks?
Of course, yeah.
And I said it earlier, but if you've joined us in the last few minutes, if you want to submit a question, we love getting to a couple of those. There's a little question mark icon at the bottom next to the comment box. So if you got a question for Prop, you can bring that on. Let's see.
Yeah.
Da-da.
And I appreciate the shirt in all the multiple languages. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, you know who texted me last night? And this doesn't often happen, but John Foreman saw that shirt and he liked it, so we sent him one today.
Hey, that's because John wants to be me.
Well, yes.
Just kidding. I want to be John.
Let's see. Here we go.
I love that guy, man.
What about
Tell me some questions.
what in your day helps you find joy?
Man, so I've been calling him the quarantine scoot. So I take my child out at about 3:30 after nap, and I live like there's like a little hill at the end of our street. So basically, we got a penny board and like a scooter, and me and the little one go like to kind of like the base of that hill and ride down. And she's been like booking every day, like booking. And then she finally was like, I don't know how to ride a skateboard. So I was like, my 4-year-old wants to ride I was like, this is my little Cali girl. And I was so excited about that. So right now it's just watching her like basically teach herself how to ride a skateboard has been probably some of the biggest like joy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for that moment, it's like, this is not an exceptional weird moment in life. For that moment, it's like I'm just being a dad with my daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's fun. Tiger King brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was sad too, though, right?
It took a dark turn. By episode 4, I was like, I shouldn't be laughing at this.
Yeah.
This guy needs real help. I should connect him to Jamie. That's yeah, dead serious.
A question popped up that I thought was a good one. How do you talk to your kids about this? I know your kids are years apart in age.
Yeah, the 14-year-old gets it, you know what I'm saying? And just like one thing that I found in the beginning kind of comfort her was like, you know, listen, I've never been in a global pandemic, but I've been poor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I know how to make our supplies work. We don't have to hoard. We don't have to worry. Just because daddy's not on tour, there's not as much money coming in as normal. It's fine. Like, I know how to be poor. You know, we'll be okay. Right. And then for the little one, we found online like coloring books and like little like children's stories to like explain what's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And that's been super like rad. I mean, I know my mom is like, she don't like me watching news in front of her. She's like, don't be watching that in front of your baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Solo run around saying, I can't go because of the corona. Like, so that's like her thing. But yeah, I mean, she's got, you know, she still talks to her teacher. Yeah, she still talks to her teacher. She still talks to my mom Tuesdays or Fridays. You know what I'm saying? But we're all just like, to the degree for which she's asking questions, you know, we let her know, you know, but the little coloring book and stories like really help.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm gonna see what else. A couple more have come in.
Please ask me more.
Dun, dun.
Because this is fun.
All right, I'm glad. Yeah.
I only seem like such a great dad because I'm on camera right now. I'm just kidding.
What have you been listening to right now? Favorite songs and artists in this?
Man, so D-Smoke, for sure. What did I just kind of go through? Um, I'm doing a lot of writing right now. So like when I do a lot of writing, I kind of don't listen to as much. You know what I'm saying? Because like I have this just aversion of like sounding like anybody else. Like I just, you know what I mean? So I like try to like make sure that I'm keeping those influences out of my brain. You know what I'm saying? But for sure, D Smoke. For sure, this production team called Blue Sky Black Death. They're from Seattle. Or Northwest, and it's just like instrumentals, so like that stuff's been helpful. And then a whole lot of like children's songs, you know. Kids.
Would you my little puppy just woke up to guard the house. Gracie, come here. Would you
what's up, puppy?
Would you be game to do a poem or two?
Yeah,
or even one, whatever
yeah. Well, I've been doing, like I said, I'm in the midst of writing an album and a book. Which for a long time I thought was metaphorical until this happened. So it's called Terraform, and it's just the idea of like, it's a science fiction term. You know, when you find a new planet, you have to make it livable for humans, for life. It's called terraforming. And I was like, dude, what if we did that here? What if we thought of the world we live in, whether it's our homes, our communities, our neighborhoods, our families, our states, our nations, our world, as like, this is our terraforming project, right? So that's like, well, let's make the world more livable. So that means we have to imagine a different future, you know? And then, so I was doing this, and then, are you trying to cute battle right now? Should I put my child on my lap so we can battle cute? You feel me?
Trying to get her to stop barking.
So I've been thinking about this already. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is a more livable world? How can I imagine a different future? You know, and like I said, this was all metaphorical until we had a chance to, like, since we're starting from scratch, we've got a chance to reboot. You know what I mean? And like I said, I was in the middle of writing it anyway, so being stuck at home has been great. You know. Having said that, I wrote some haikus. Like, I'm calling them COVID-19 haikus.
Would you open to sharing one?
I'll share a few of them. So they're if you follow, like, for y'all who listen to me, Jamie has known me for a long time. I try to make a lot of the songs and poetry I make like it's a gumbo. Okay, so there's a gumbo of comedy, astute sort of like observation, and then a little bit of sprinkle with some clever. So, and I found that some of the more serious things that I like to tackle, I like to come at them with a level of humor. I don't know if that makes sense. So that's what these poems are about, or these haikus. And if you guys know what haikus are, you know what a haiku is? 575 syllables. Yeah. Lines that don't rhyme. So here we go. I see that I hate cats. I hate cats is a perfect example of that. It's because the poem's not about cats. Here we go. So, virus don't see states. We must look so strange to them. What is a border? That's that one. Here's another one. You live together. You really don't know your kids. Make conversation.
I got my own poems.
You do. My daughter's started writing poems. Yeah. Let me see. Money is not real. 1.5 trillion from feds. Where's our health care, son? Let me see. Pride really does kill. Floridians at the beach. You gonna learn today.
Oh man.
So yeah, you wanna go get your poems to share them with the people?
You could go.
Oh, I could go. She said I could go. She wrote one about the corona and that giraffes have corona, but they stay home to wear a mask because.
Wait, does she write poems?
She has this book called Fancy Nancy, and Fancy Nancy has a poetry club in her book, so she wanted to have a poetry club.
Yeah.
So yeah, she writes poems.
That's awesome. Oh, that is cool. Well, man, thank you so much for being with us in the midst of your juggling a few hats.
Yeah, dude.
And just thank you for being real, as you always are, talking about what life looks like right now. Thank you to the little one for being
I
real,
love y'all
too.
so much.
Oh, man.
Yeah, dude. Hey, thanks for keeping it real, Jamie said. She's playing with highlights.
Oh, nice. Tell your wife I said hello. And
Will
your daughter.
do.
I don't. What's the older one's name?
The older one's name's Luna, and then the little one's Soul.
Yeah.
You want to say peace to him, Soul?
Peace.
That's my girl.
Everyone has great hair in that family.
Hey, homie, you know what I'm saying? We'll do what we can. Feel me?
Well, man, stay safe and healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for rocking that shirt, too.
Yes, sir. Love you, G.
All right. Love you, man.
All right, Mike.
Bye. So thank you to Propaganda. We got just a couple minutes left before we hit the hour mark and get turned off by Instagram. So thank you to Michelle Moore of Solace Counseling in Orlando, and thank you to Propaganda, aka Jason Petty, in Los Angeles with his daughter. Thank you to you for joining us, for listening. Thank you for your comments and your questions. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your question. I want to remind you again, Thursday will be the To Write Love on Our Arms team. It will be Chad, Lindsay, and Aaron. I'm excited. I get that day off, and I get to just join you as someone listening and watching. The 5K coming up Saturday, May 16th as a virtual run. You can learn more, runforit5k.com. And then the Fear Won't Win landing page on TWLOHA.com that we continue to add to. We just want to continue to show up in the ways that we can. Obviously, like everyone else, our events have been canceled or postponed. So Instagram Live is an example of us trying to show up. I get to show up on behalf of our team. Someone asked what time Thursday. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And we're going to keep doing that as long as this season remains. We love getting to be with you guys. We also love getting to host our special guests. We get to invite friends like Michelle and Prop. And I mentioned it earlier, but Tuesday we'll have Lorenza Izzo, who is an actress from Los Angeles, well, from Chile, who now lives in Los Angeles. And then Aaron Moore, who is Michelle Moore's husband. Michelle, who you met earlier. And Aaron works with Michelle out of Solace Counseling in Orlando, and just a longtime friend. Michelle is still with us. Thank you for sticking with us. And yeah, we just want to remind you to take this one day at a time. You're not alone. We don't have to know what a week from now looks like or a month from now. We just have to keep getting through one day at a time. Keep tuning into these, but more importantly, call a friend, call a family member, FaceTime, text, reach out. Know that you can still connect with people in this time, even though it looks different. If you need professional help, please remember that you can still get professional help. We love pointing people to the website, the Find Help tool. I had to put the puppy down. TWLOHA.com, top right corner, the words Find Help. You enter your zip code. You'll find local resources, including free and reduced rate services. And you can also find online support groups. That was something that Michelle talked about. But I believe we list 7 or 8 different options in terms of online support groups. So just remember that as much as things have been canceled, as much as so many things are closed, in so many ways life feels limited, we really do believe that hope will not be canceled, and that hope and that help will not be canceled. And so we want to remind you that you still deserve connection, you still deserve relationships, conversations, you deserve to be honest. And if you need help, you deserve that as well. If you're struggling, if you're feeling hopeless, send a text to Crisis Text Line. That's anyone in the US, UK, or Canada. Here in the US, the number is 741-741. And with that, I'm going to sign off. We will see you Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern. You guys stay safe, stay healthy,